The Super 10 of North American Big Game has become the most popular award within the Grand Slam Club Ovis family, and rightfully so. To accomplish the Super 10, one must do a lot of big game hunting in many different parts of North America. Furthermore, one must hunt not only the mountain species, but the broad range of antlered game, and yes, the predators too. We're proud to have introduced the Super 10 milestone to big game hunters and excited to be able to recognize so many tonight. So now let's move on to the recipients. We'll be breaking these Super 10 holders into groups, so please hold your applause until everyone in each group has been introduced. As your name is called, please quickly make your way to the stage. Now for our first group. The introduction of the Super Slam program seems to have recently brought Rusty Bryans of California to GSCO as a member. We're most pleased to honor him tonight for the Super 10 milestone. It was the Cougar that got Rusty to the Super 10. He took that cat in Wyoming in January 2012. Rusty has some excellent trophies to his credit, including a huge Alaska Yukon moose that he took in 1998, and an archery taken elk that he took in Wyoming, self-guided, in 1999. He also traveled to the frozen north to get a muskox in March 2011. Yes, as mentioned in the beginning tonight, one does have to travel extensively in North America to achieve the Super 10. It's always great when we can honor a lady for completing one of GSCO's various milestones. Sherry Brucker of British Columbia got the job done for her Super 10 with a barren ground caribou from the Yukon in October 2013. Sherry says she's been hunting for more than 30 years, but got a lot more serious when she met husband Alex Brucker. They were high bidders for a bison hunt in one of our auctions and flipped a coin to see who'd be the shooter. You guessed it, Sherry won the toss. Congratulations, Sherry, and we know another milestone is in your future real soon. Pete Carlson of Minnesota has a couple of aspects of his Super 10 that we'd like to mention. First, the muskox you see here was taken in Greenland, not the traditional areas of northern Canada. Many people don't know that the range for not only the muskox but also the central Canadian barren ground caribou extends to Greenland. We actually have an auction item later this week for one of those combo hunts. Besides the two animals we have just spoken of, you've also seen some other really outstanding trophies. That's the second part of Pete's Super 10, and he's certainly gotten some big ones along the way. The cougar you're seeing is the trophy that Pete got in the Super 10, and it was taken in 2012. As of the time he registered, he was already up to 17, and many of those were taken in 2011 and 2012. So look out, Super 25. Pete is headed your way. Starlene Clayson of Utah is no newcomer to hunting, as easily proven by the first photo you see here of her 1978 mule deer from her home state. She took a bison in 1981 and a black bear in 1990. Well, now you're getting the idea about how long this lady has been hunting. We're going to show you some more photos with some recent ones to prove that she hasn't stopped. The latest gray trophy she got were a Canada moose and antelope in 2013, which completed her Super 10. John Della Valle of New York began hunting North American big game in the 1960s and has continued in every decade since. He would be a literal poster boy for the Super 10 and proves what a great milestone it really is. We chose one photo from every decade to show here. It was a mule deer from 1965 and a grizzly from 1975 you saw first. The Sitka blacktail from 1981 came next, followed by a muskox from the frozen north that he took in 1995. His pronghorn came in 2001, and for the most current decade, you're going to see an excellent black bear from 2011. Mike Deshane of Maine completed his Super 10 with a Dall sheep from NWT in July 2013. That probably means he'll be going after the Grand Slam for his next milestone, but who knows? Backing up, Mike took a black bear in 1997 and a cougar in 2003. His pronghorn came in 2006. And in 2007, he headed north to get an excellent muskox. We'll finish up with another couple of more recent trophies, a Montana whitetail and a central Canadian barren ground caribou. The next person we'd like to recognize for registering a Super 10 is rather unique tonight. Mike Fisher of Minnesota has been a member of the original Grand Slam Club and then continued on with GSCO for almost 40 years. Yes, while he was reading the old Bob Householder bulletins of the 1970s and 1980s, he was out hunting sheep, of course, but also very possibly inspired to hunt the other North American big game, because Bob sure talked about what was then the North American 27. We're not going to mention any specific trophies because Mike has several, and of course more than enough to have completed a Super 10. What an honor it is to have you with us, Mike, and thanks for your many years of support. Arthur Goodrich of Massachusetts saw a Super Slam publication in 2012 and immediately joined GSCO. Soon thereafter, he documented his Super 10 and even sent the additional North American trophies he has. It seems a lot of people complete their Super 10 with a cougar, and that's exactly the way Arthur did it in 2012. You're going to see several other photos to help document his hunting along the way. As mentioned tonight, the Super 10 milestone has certainly gotten the attention of a multitude of North American big game hunters. Many joined quickly after they saw or heard about this great program. Ben Gordon of California completed his Super 10 in August 2013 with an American mountain goat from British Columbia. Ben has taken many other great trophies included in his Super 10, but he's knocking on the door of the Super 25, needing only a handful more to get there. There's no doubt that he's a man on a mission and is hunting North America extensively. Our Super Slam program, which of course includes the Super 10 and Super 25 as well, is certainly encouragement to hunt North America, and Ben fits the bill as a person turned on to these goals. We wish you great success in all your hunting for 2014, and who knows what you'll accomplish before next year's convention. That completes Group 1, so again, please make your way to the stage quickly. We now want to move along to the second group of documented Super 10 holders. Again, please hold your applause until everyone in this group has been introduced. As your name is called, please quickly make your way to the stage. And now for our second group. David Harrison of California recently joined GSCO and completed his Super 10 with an Alaska Dall sheep in August 2013. Matter of fact, 2013 was an amazing year for David. He took 6 additional trophies last year besides the Dall. He took a home state Thule elk, brown bear, Central Canadian barren ground caribou, cougar, muskox, and even a Roosevelt elk. This multitude of trophies in 1 year certainly proves David is a man on a mission. And those elk we mentioned are 2 of the more difficult ones to get. So David's well on his way to the next level. We're most pleased to welcome him not only as a GSCO member, but here at the convention, and of course, your Super 10. It was a muskox taken in August 2012 that completed a Super 10 for James Yackel of New York. He's certainly been busy over the last decade, and you'll see several trophies he took during that time period. We'd like to report that on Friday night, James is also going to receive an award for his Grand Slam. So again, he's done a lot of hunting. It's great to have you with us, James, and congratulations on the completion of your Super 10. Richard L'Esperance of New York documented his Super 10 after taking Alberta cougar in February 2013. Along the way, Richard's taken many great trophies leading up to this milestone, for which we're honoring him tonight. On Friday night, Richard will also be getting an award for his Grand Slam. At tomorrow night's trophy award ceremony, he'll also be receiving awards for 2 different sheep he's taken. Keep up the hunting, Richard, as we certainly see more milestones for you in the future. Clanton Lindsay of Mississippi has been a regular at all of our conventions dating back to 2005, when the first one was held in his home state. From his application, it appears that he completed his Super 10 in 2008, but he's certainly taken some trophies since then as well. He's knocking on the door of the Super 25, needing only 4 more to reach that level. We'll not go into details about all of Clanton's trophies you're seeing here, but we do want to take this opportunity to thank this man who's been such a great supporter since he found us almost by accident in 2005. We hope that the company name DPMS Panther Arms is familiar to you. That company is one of the largest producers of AR rifles in the world. They produce several calibers, not just the .223. The next Super 10 award goes to Randy Luth of Minnesota, and he's the founder of DPMS Panther Arms. Randy made arrangements for a DPMS AR customized rifle in .308 caliber for our auction, and you'll be seeing it and having an opportunity to bid on it tonight. Of special interest is that 8 of the 10 animals required for Randy's Super 10 were taken with an AR in a variety of calibers. Surely you've noticed those rifles prominently in the photos you've seen here. Congratulations, Randy, on your Super 10, and thanks for your support of GSCO. Ralph Markham of Alabama got busy in early 2013 and registered all of his North American trophies. The first you see is his Thule elk from 2007, and next is an excellent Shiras moose Ralph got from Utah in 2010. Backing up a bit, we find an antelope from 2000, a grizzly from 2001, a muskox and Central Canadian barren ground caribou from 2002. And as for 2005, we find a cougar and a mule deer on Ralph's application. Ralph's been very involved with SCI over the years, not only at the chapter level as president, but on the national level as a director. It's great to have you with us, Ralph. Hal Martin of Idaho completed his Super 10 in January 2013. He had joined GSCO a few months earlier and was most pleased to report he'd achieved the Super 10 milestone with a bison. Hal has been hunting for a long time, as proven by his 1980 photo of a Columbia blacktail that he took in California as a youngster. Moving way ahead, you'll certainly enjoy seeing Hal's tremendous barren ground caribou that he took in Alaska in 2004. Of special interest is that the only trophy on Hal's Super 10 documentation that was not self-guided was his Dall sheep from Alaska. That's pretty uncommon, Hal, so we congratulate you on some hard hunting over the years. Shay McGowan of Nebraska's last 2 trophies needed for the Super 10 were a bison and cougar. He got the bison in 2012 and then got the job done in January 2013 with a big mountain lion from Utah. The next photo is actually a Shiras moose that Shay took in 2008, and what a monster that is. We chose some other great trophies to illustrate Shay's Super 10, and we know you'll enjoy seeing his grizzly from 2012, the Alaska Yukon moose from 2007, and a really nice black bear from 2009. Like father, like son. We've all heard this, and the Pinello family of Colorado certainly fits it perfectly. Tom Pinello Jr., who was over 80 at the time, completed his Super 10 just before the 2012 convention with a bison and received his Super 10 award a week or 2 later. Now let us introduce you to David Pinello, who of course is Tom's son. And David did it exactly the same way as you see him with his big bison here. Yes, it completed David's Super 10, and yes, he took only a couple of weeks ago. Both father and son were just in time, and that's just fine. You're going to see some other great trophies David's taken along the way, as he's been hunting North America's big game for a long time. Some of the photos are from the earlier days of his career in the 1980s, but we've chosen some from the 1990s, the 2000s, and yes, the current decade as well. It's wonderful to once again be able to honor the Pinello family. David, we know the Grand Slam is in your sights since you are a half slammer. Tony Rich of Pennsylvania started his quest for the North American big game animals in the 1970s. We chose a Colorado elk from 1977 to represent that decade. As for the 1980s, you'll see a black bear Tony took in British Columbia in 1989. Tony became very active in the 1990s, and we chose 3 excellent trophies from that decade. In 1994, he took an excellent whitetail in Wyoming, and in 1996, he traveled to NWT to get a nice Alaska Yukon moose. To finalize the list, you'll see the trophy that completed his Super 10, his 1997 Cougar. That completes Group 2. Again, please make your way to the stage quickly. We now want to move along to the third group of documented Super 10 holders. Again, please hold your applause until everyone in this group has been introduced. As your name is called, please quickly make your way to the stage. And now for our third group. Dan Sharmer of Minnesota has a long history with GSCO, all the way back to our 2005 convention and even before. Of special note is that in 2006 he won a desert sheep hunt as a 3/4 slammer and took a great desert sheep in March after the convention that year. We decided to back way up for Dan and show you a whitetail that he arrowed with a recurve bow in 1963. Of course, in 1967, he got a great big whitetail, so we have to show you that one as well. There have been a lot of great trophies along the way to Dan's Super 10, but the one that actually got the job done was a mountain lion from Utah that Dan took on the last day of 2012. We hope you enjoy some of these other photos that we chose from Dan's archive file. It was a great Dall sheep from the Yukon that completed a Super 10 for Ron Schilt of Illinois. We don't know if it was the Super 10 that inspired Ron to head north for that Dall, but we sure hope it was. We've chosen some other great trophies Ron's taken along the way, including an amazing elk from Utah that he took in 2009 and a velvet mule deer that he also took in Utah in 2011. We couldn't resist going back to 1965 to show Ron and his pronghorn. His black bear came in 2000 and his cougar in 2009. From the documentation from Corey Smith of North Dakota, we find that it was a Sonora, Mexico Desert Ram that completed his Super 10 in February 2013. Now, that's not the most traditional animal to have done so, but Corey needed a sheep, and it seems that's the way he decided to go. To mention some of the animals leading up to that desert, in 2012, he got a mountain caribou. In 2011, he headed to the north for a muskox, and in 2010, he got his mountain lion in Alberta. Backing up, we find his antelope was taken in 2004, and we chose an excellent home state whitetail from 2006 to finish up Corey's Super 10 milestone. Michael Sorensen of Utah reported that the majority of his Super 10 animals were taken self-guided. The trophy that got him to the Super 10 level, however, was guided, and it was a cougar from his home state of Utah in November 2011. We can also go back to August 1994 and show you an excellent barren ground caribou Michael got in Alaska. He took a Wyoming antelope in 2001 and a muskox in 2004. Congratulations, Michael. Stanton Doc Southward of Colorado completed his Super 10 in a dramatic way with an outstanding home state whitetail. You see him here with his good friend David Pinello. The earliest trophy that we see for Doc in his application is also a home state trophy, a Colorado cougar. Along the way, he's taken some other excellent trophies, such as the great 2002 mountain caribou from NWT and a big Alaska brown bear in 2001. We can report that Stan's most recent trophy was a very nice Alabama whitetail that he took at Magnolia Lodge earlier this month, and that was a GSCO auction hunt. We must begin with a very young Greg Sutley of Alberta and his 1988 Canada Moose to honor him for his Super 10. Moving right along, we had to choose his 2011 Polar Bear, as he must be a man on a mission toward an eventual Super Slam. Well, next for Greg, you have to see his Velvet Antler Double Drop Tine Mule Deer from 2002, and he took it with a bow, no less. He also got his 2000 Black Bear with a bow. And finally, we want to show you Greg's Cougar from 2006 and his Muskox from 2010. And he had to have these to get to the Super 10. So keep it up, Greg, as you're more than well on your way to the next level. GSCO Director Bruce Tatterchuck of Alabama completed his Super 10 in November 2013 with a muskox. On that same trip, he got a caribou that was actually number 21 on the North American list for him. Going way back, we want to show you a youngster almost unrecognizable as Bruce with a whitetail in 1969. Along the way, Bruce has gotten some wonderful trophies. Also in 2013, he got a polar bear, but that was on a different trip than the muskox and caribou. We think you'll also enjoy seeing his big brown bear from 2012, and why not go to a little warmer climate and show you his Coues deer from 2011. We'll finish up with some more trophies that he's taken, but we'll use this opportunity to welcome Bruce as the newest board member of GSCO. Just like so many others tonight, Larry Willard of Montana completed his Super 10 with a cougar. He did so most recently in December 2013. We're going to show you some other photos of Larry going way back to 1968 for his Rocky Mountain elk. Without mentioning the others specifically, we want to tell you a story about Larry. You may remember from earlier that Dan Sharmer won a GSCO 3/4 slam drawing. Well, Larry Willard also did, but did so back in 2002. Larry won a GSCO Raffle-Rama Desert sheep hunt after that, and would you believe he donated it back to GSCO to give away to a 3/4 slammer? You guessed it, it was the one Larry donated back that Dan Sharmer won. Well, the story doesn't end there. At the 2009 GSCO convention, Larry bought one ticket for the desert hunt on the Raffle-Rama. He won again, ladies and gentlemen, but since he had given one away, he decided maybe someone up above wanted him to take a second desert, and he did. You can imagine that Dan Sharmer and Larry Willard became fast friends and visit each year at the convention as well as going on hunts together. Good story, huh? James Bryan of Montana should be a very familiar name to most of you. He's responsible for several very popular TV shows, including Magnum Hunt Club, Nosler's Magnum TV, and The Zone. GSCO is most pleased to be partnered with James as a sponsor for these programs. He's going to be around all week, but right now we want to honor him for his Super 10. All the animals within this milestone were videoed and made into TV episodes, but it was the cougar James took in February 2013 that completed his Super 10. You've seen some other amazing trophies James has taken, and we'll finish by simply saying congratulations and ask all of you to try to get to know him this week. That completes Group 3. Again, please make your way to the stage quickly. We decided to let the Super 10s taken by archery be separate from the others. We now come to the Archery Super 10 for Edwin DeYoung of Michigan. Even though we're honoring Ed for his Super 10, he's within one trophy of having the Archery Super 25. Of special interest is that 23 of the 24 Eds taken with his bow qualify for the Pope and Young and SCI record books. His amazing archery polar bear is listed as number 1 in the SCI record book. His non-typical velvet whitetail falls in at number 5, and his Thule elk is number 10 by the bow and arrow method. You're seeing some other great trophies Ed's taken, and it's likely that he'll be honored again next year for an Archery Super 25. Chase Fulcher of Kentucky is quite an ambassador for bow hunting. It's a real honor to get to recognize him tonight for his Archery Super 10. He's within striking distance of the Super 25, and as long as he's able to breathe and crawl, he'll achieve the Archery Super Slam one day. Yes, he's that committed to using the old string and stick. You've already seen and will be seeing some great trophies taken by Chase. Among his many claims to fame, to our knowledge, he's the only bow hunter who has taken all 5 of the caribou in 1 year. There's quite a story about how he did that, and if you get a chance this week, get him to tell you that harrowing tale, especially about the barren ground caribou that you see right here. James Gabrick of Wisconsin has a total of 21 archery taken trophies on the Super Slam list. It won't be long before he reaches the Super 25 milestone, we're sure. You've seen some of his earlier trophies already, including an outstanding whitetail that he took in 1996. We do want to show you his big brown bear taken in 2007, and also a big mountain lion that he took in 2000. To have taken 21 North American trophies by bow and arrow and to complete a Super 10 is pretty amazing. Congratulations, James. Bow hunter Ned Greer of Iowa is next in line to be recognized for completing the Archery Super 10. Ned actually has 20 on the list, with some of the more difficult trophies already under his belt, such as the polar bear and great Thule elk that you see here. Some other great trophies you'll be seeing from Ned are his Alaska Yukon moose, barren ground caribou, big black bear, and finally his Rocky Mountain elk from 2008. Anyone who knows Anna Voracek of Alaska knows she's a very special lady and one heck of a bow hunter. As a matter of fact, Anna's the first and only woman to take an archery Grand Slam and is now the first woman to take an Archery Super 10. With a total of 22 archery animals to her credit, she's certainly headed toward the Super 25. Anna's husband, Ken Voracek, is already an Archery Super Slammer, so there's a good chance they'll be the first archery husband-wife team. By the way, they're also the only husband-wife archery Grand Slammers. What a team they've made. We certainly hope you've enjoyed this year's Super 10 Awards and the way we've honored all those who have accomplished this amazing milestone. Let's give them all one last round of applause.